So there's the question. Who's the greatest person in this room? Ella. Ella's the greatest? I saw, oh, Christopher's the greatest or Ella's the greatest? Which one? Which one? Christopher's the greatest person. Is it anyone else going to challenge Christopher on that? Christopher's the greatest person in this room, going once. Harold's the greatest person in this room. 103 already or soon? Already. 103. Oh, so Gus is greater than Harold because it's Gus's birthday today. It's Gus's birthday today, so Gus is greater than Harold. That's what I heard, right? Oh, see, it's Charlene's baptism anniversary today. So that's a bigger thing than a birthday, isn't it? Charlene must be the greatest person in the room. Yeah? No? Why not? You are. You got our attention. Oh. Tammy Shoemaker's birthday's today, too? Look at this. He thinks I'm the greatest because I got everyone's attention. The spotlights aren't always fun, you know. You know, the answer to that question is, it's the wrong question, Pastor. You're not supposed to be asking that question. And yet, isn't that almost always the question we get asked? And in school, it's whoever's the A student, right? Unless you're in the hallway, then it's whoever's the coolest. Yeah? At work, it's the highest paid employee. They're the ones who are the greatest. In sports, it's whoever has the best winning record, isn't it, Rich? Yeah? That's who's the greatest. It's the star from the winning team. Yeah? In the stadiums, it's whoever's got the best seats. In politics, I mean, I know it's supposed to be about caring for the country, but let's admit, the greatest ones, it's the ones who won the elections. That's who's great. Personally, I love that feeling that comes when you're the last person to get through a stoplight. You know how it feels, and you look, and it's like you just won, and you look in your mirror, and everyone behind you lost. Oh, suddenly you just somehow feel better. It's so good. Even among siblings, you know, it's always that me first thing, isn't it? Me first, me first. And if it's not me first, then it's me too. Because it's a travesty if one of my siblings gets to do something and I don't. Because you know what that means? That means I don't matter as much as they do. That seems to be what it's always about. How much I matter. Being the last one through the light. I matter more than they do. But you know what that means? It also means that I must matter less than the person in front of me because I was the last one through the light. And that's the problem. Because you know there's always going to be someone who matters more than you. There's a story about this guy. He's a stonemason, and he's out collecting stones. He's going to build a house. You know, you got lots of stone houses out here. We don't have those in Iowa, but out here, you guys could. Stonemasons, they're picking up stones, getting them ready to build a house. So he's out picking up stones, but this isn't here in Pennsylvania. This is over in the old world, back when there was kings and queens, and he's picking up stones. And a parade comes by, and the king is coming through town, going somewhere. And because, you know, that's the king, the stonemason's got to stop what he's doing, get down on his knees and bow. And the stonemason thinks, that guy's got it good, doesn't he? That guy is the greatest person in the world. I wish I were that guy. And he becomes the king. Don't know how it happened. Suddenly he was the king. And he loved it. He was the greatest person in the world, ruling over everyone. But you know, they didn't have air conditioning back then. And summer hit, and it got really hot outside. And no matter how much his servants fanned him, he was sweating Let me tell you. And he thought, I thought I was the greatest thing in the world, but that sun, I can't stop it. That sun is so much greater than me. I wish I were the sun. And now he's the sun up in the sky, and he's shining out, and I'm the greatest thing ever. Look at all the power that I have. And he's shining down on earth, heating that thing up, showing them how powerful he is. And as he's doing it, water's evaporating. And as the water evaporates, it starts to form clouds. And those clouds get up there, and they come together, and they block all the sunlight. And this sun, he gets angry. He's like, I thought I was the greatest thing in the world. How are they beating me? They're stopping me from beating down heat on this earth. Those clouds are greater than I am. I wish I were the clouds. And now he's the clouds, and he's having so much fun. Look at this. I can block the sunlight. I can make it rain. Oh, it's beautiful. People worship me. I am great. But he's up there as the clouds, and along comes a little gust. He's like, I don't want to be going this way. Why am I going this way? What? I thought I was the greatest thing ever, but I can't stop myself from moving. I wish I were the wind. And now he's the wind, and he's blowing about, and now he's got the whole power of the universe behind his back, blowing everything as hard as he can. The whole world's moving, and he's blowing, and he's blowing, and he's blowing, and there's this thing, and it won't move, and he's blowing, and he's blowing, and he's blowing, and it won't move. There's this big boulder down on earth, and it won't move. And he's blowing, he's blowing. He's like, this boulder's stronger than I am. I wish I were that boulder. And along comes a stonemason. Even though we know how foolish the system is of who is the greatest, we keep playing it because it feels really good in those moments when you think you matter most. I play it too. I'll admit, one of my probably naive reasons for why I don't like being single is I really want someone in my life who thinks that I matter most. Someone who says that no matter what else is going on, this is the person I'm ending my day with. Someone who says, no matter what's happening in this world, I'm making time for this person every single day. Wouldn't that be nice? This person matters the most in my life. I will not miss a day without them. Someone who says, on the most important moments of my day, this is the person I want there. Of anyone else in the world, this person has to be at my great moments. And on those bad moments, I want this person beside me. Part of my vision for love is I want someone who says, you're the one who matters most to me. But then I bet that if you ask anyone who has kids, that there comes this moment when you realize it's no longer I that matters most to them. And that moment's probably a little difficult, even as you're realizing you're in love with a new person. But that's how we've built the system, around a belief that love, for some reason, is a limited commodity, where the goal is to have more of it than others, and where it's a problem, a real problem, when we realize someone has more of it than we do. Because doesn't it hurt when our parents spend time with our siblings and not with us? Doesn't it hurt when we don't get invited to that party our friends went to? Doesn't it hurt when someone won't return our phone calls? Doesn't it hurt when it feels like someone forgot our birthday? Because it means we don't matter enough. It means we're not important. It means somehow they ran out of love for us. And that's a sad thought, isn't it? Which means it's sad that we've built a world around a system based on limited love. That we've made love a commodity that's always running out. So let me tell you something. Let me tell you how much you matter. There was once a man, kind of a normal bloke, not really a normal bloke, a pretty good bloke actually. This man, he thought that you mattered so much, that you mattered more than anyone else in the world. He thought that you were more precious than all the jewels in creation, even that $8,000 diamond that Samuel found as a kid. Let me tell you, this man thought that Samuel was more precious than that and that you were too. He didn't just love you. He thought that you were actually worth loving. He believed you were so important that even when you were royally messing up, you were worth forgiving. He thought that you were so important that even when you killed him, you were still worth investing his whole life into. He believed you were important enough to give up his life for your sake. Because for Jesus, each of you matter more than anyone else in the world. Each of you is the greatest person ever to Christ. Each of you is the greatest person ever in God's eye. Which means it's no longer about being the greatest, because we're all at the top of the platform. Almost everywhere else, it's about being the most important. But you know what? Here you already are the most important. Here, you already are my best friend. That was one of my favorite quotes from the youth gathering this summer. Someone said, "I'm here with 30,000 of my best friends. I just don't know them all yet." They didn't say, "I'm here with 30,000 friends." They said, "I'm here with 30,000 of my best friends. Each of them is the most important friend in my life. They are all my best friends." Or flip it on the other side. Take it from my favorite superhero, Doctor Who. Pick any person in the world, someone who you imagine doesn't really matter that much, someone who you think is the least important person you can possibly picture in your head. "Who's that?" the doctor asks. "Nobody important." "Nobody important? Blimey, that's amazing. You know that in 900 years of time and space, and I've never met anyone who wasn't important before." There's no such thing as unimportant in God's kingdom. There's no such thing as unimportant in this place. Here, everyone is the most important. Here, everyone's my best friend, which means we don't got to compete with each other anymore. We have all got the fullness of God's love. And now we're free to care for each other instead. And there's the real challenge. The world is always going to be telling people that they aren't important, because the world still thinks love is limited somehow. Our challenge is to show people how truly important they are. Which means, and this connects to our evangelism goal, so this is important to listen to. It means that sharing the good news doesn't just mean going out and trying to tell strangers about Jesus. I know that can be scary. But who do you know who doesn't need to hear how important they are? Who do you know that doesn't need to hear that? No one. I get it that sharing the good news is hard sometimes, so start where it's easy. How will you tell the person beside you today that they are the most important ever? How will you show the person behind you today that they are the most important ever? And the person in front of you, and the person across the aisle from you. Don't wait to go home and meet some random stranger at some point today and let them know about God's love. Let the people here know. Start here. But then don't stop here until everyone in the world believes that they really, actually, truly matter. My TV superhero, the doctor, he offered the same challenge. He said, human progress isn't measured by industry. It's measured by the value you place on a life, an unimportant life. A life without privilege. The person you neglected, the person you let suffer, that person's value is your value. That's what defines an age. That's what defines a species. That's what Jesus meant when he took a child and put it in the center of the room. Because children back then, in Jesus' time, were not like children today. Children back then weren't center of our worlds. Let them do everything. Make our lives revolve around them kids. Children back then were on the same level as slaves. The least important ever. And Jesus says, you want to know how to love like I love you? Find the life that's been told it's unimportant. Find the person who's been told they're the least important in the world and go love them. You've all lived this lie that you're unimportant so many times that you know exactly how it feels to be unimportant. But now you know the truth. That my love has no bounds. And is so great that it is able to make every life the most important life ever. And so those people who feel unimportant, they are the ones who desperately need to hear the good news that you have today. So go tell them, show them, love them with all the love that I have for you. Amen.